put that in your brain to go, oh, I wish that could have been me, or that could be me, and I wish I won the lottery. I wish that fucking just work, and even if you don't win what you want to win, the journey of you working is the thing that clicks in your brain that you don't even know it's there.
Another fun episode today with MMA professional Aldin Bates. In today's episode, we went through his upbringing, including some crazy stories from his upbringing in the rough parts of England and what got him over to MMA, how he recovered from his first big loss and all the mindset and the mental health associated with that, and went through his role as a father, modern masculinity, and much more. Check this one out.
Aldin Bates, welcome to the Blokes Lab.
Thank you very much for having me. Cheers, Ryan.
Firstly, congratulations on your win from a few weeks ago. How did it feel? Get back in there.
Feels good. It still feels good now. It's a bit of a layoff, a bit of time off, and like we spoke before that, and I spoke to a few people close to me. You just don't know how you're going to be when you get in there after so long off, and. Look, I feel the training going well. I feel the sparring, fitness, diet, lifestyle, everything going good. But until you're in the cage and you start eating a few shots, and then when a few shots landed, I'm like, oh fuck, I'm still pretty good. I can take this. I feel good now, but I'm very happy. Pretty tough opponent, and came out with the win. So very, very happy on a whole.
Brilliant. In terms of I like to go back all the way to the start. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Okay. How far do you want to go back?
We'll go back pretty far.
As far as you can.
As far as you can. So what is we get an idea of what made you who you are today?
Okay. Well, yeah. Let's go deep.
Yeah.
Straight in.
We love that.
Okay. Yeah. So. Well, I've lived in Australia now for 10 years. I moved over in 2012. I came over here travelling with two of my close friends, Lee Carpenter and Dan Wall. We came over just travelling. We worked together in the UK as tradies, and I was fighting professional then. And we were just like, we're going to go travelling. We're going to work in a bar and spin some cocktails and do that kind of jazz. And we just came here and just kind of partied for the first 6 months. But before then, I grew up in a place called Telford, Shropshire, which is a big town just outside Birmingham. I grew up with my grandma. My grandma adopted me from the age of 2.5. My mum passed away when I was 2.5, and my nan took me, my two sisters, and my brother on full time. So that's the kind of life I got brought up with. Was a very strict Northern Irish grandma, which is, if there's anything you've done wrong, you've been hit round the face before you've even known. The discipline and the respect was there from day dot, from when I can remember. Don't get me wrong, we bend the rules and we were naughty kids. I was always mischievous, but if you've done something wrong, my nan wouldn't care if a stranger had hit you if you were in the wrong. I'd be like, well, but the neighbour hit me. But she was like, yeah, but what did you do? I took stones at his car, and well, then that's what happens. There's always something that comes from your actions. So that's where we kind of grew up. And in school, it was a reasonably rough area. A lot of crime, a lot of stuff going on, which is normal. I'm not trying to act like it's different. Oh, wow, we grew up in the ghetto. It was rough, where you need to keep your P's and Q's in line, otherwise you'd be found out very fast. So from early on, fighting was like a second nature. You'd fight in my house, I'd fight with my cousins, my brothers. We had boxing gloves for Christmas. I remember having a Christmas present and we had boxing gloves. It was like, you can't get your actual presents until you fight your way out the bedroom. I'm like, what the fuck is that as a young man? And no one thought anything of it then. My dad's in the army, my 3 cousins in the army. So to them, that was just like, you're just a boy, you grow up with men, and you just kind of, that was it, respect. And if you've done something wrong, you'd find out straight away. So yeah, kind of school was good. I enjoyed it. It was, for example, my very first day in year 7 at school, the biggest fight kicked off. I'm year 7. I got my backpack on, double straps. I'm like goofy kid. I had braces at the time, skinny little kid. The biggest fight kicked off with 2 grown men, the year 11s, just battering each other. And then the whole school just gathered around and were like, yeah, fight. And it was like, this is day one of school. I was like, wow, this is just what you're set up to be in, and it's not a tough man mentality. That's just where all these people were. It's the demographic of where we grew up. It was a poor area, a lot of mixed. We call it estates, suburbs. We're all mixed together, poor area. So you're all tucked in the same school, and there we go again. So the first couple of weeks in school, where I came from, my suburb, I was the toughest kid in primary school. You're a kid, you don't know what. I was like watching cartoons probably still, but I was like, I can beat anyone up in my school. But then you go to high school, and there's another 5 primary schools. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'm the toughest, obviously, because I'm from Brookside. And they go, well, I'm from here, and I'm from here, and I'm from here, and the lads made us all fight each other to see who was the toughest in the year. And yes, I was 12, 11 and a half. And I was like, soon found out I wasn't the toughest. I won the first fight. I'm like, yes, I'm on top of someone, punch someone, get dragged away. I'm like, wow, that's it. No, tomorrow we come back to the same park and we do it again. I'm like, fuck my life. This is a different level of. I was like, no, I don't want to be the toughest. but that's like I say. That's not a brag. That's not you're tougher than anyone. But that's just where we grew up, and that's just all the boys we were around. We're in that same mentality of don't act tough unless you can back it up and prove it. So that's just where kind of it came from. And like I say, brothers, cousins in the family. They're in the army. My cousins, 3 of my cousins joined the army at 16, British Army at 16 years old. So they'd be coming back on leave. They'd be coming back with secret ninja ways to beat you up and hurt you. And your parents would be like, well, my nan and my aunties would be like, yeah, that's just what happens. If you've annoyed them, they're going to hurt you. Yeah, repercussions, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it's good. There's nothing I would change in my life. There's nothing everything happened for a reason, and it benefits where I am now. I'm here where I am now because of all that stuff. So nothing bad happened. Don't get me wrong, you get in trouble when we're getting a bit older and you go down the wrong path of some ways, but it's just what it is. I've never done anything where you can't come back from.
Sure.
So
and look, like a lot of people, I think, particularly from most of Australia, Western Sydney is probably different, but like they don't understand, like a lot of England, they think England's all like nice and proper, and they don't actually understand like the poorer areas are fucking rough.
Yeah.
Because you're a white dude, you're rolling through there, and you look a certain way, or someone's dressed up a bit too nice. You're done. And like
your watch is gone, your phone's gone.
Yeah, gone.
You put your phone out.
It's like the stabbing capital of the world.
It is.
People think like, London, it's great. It's like Central and West London's nice. You go start going out to other areas that are poorer.
Yeah,
man, it's very different to Australia. And the mentality is you got to be street smart. Yeah. And the poorer areas sometimes the options are you got to almost go down a life of crime.
You beat them or join them. Yeah.
Did you find you had that sort of that pressure, particularly as a 12, 13, 14-year-old? Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't change anything. I don't think it's negative, but my first paid job was like selling stuff for older people. They would come to me because you could fight and you could hold your own amongst your own people, and I could fight older people than me. Everyone could notice that, and they'd seen that, and they go, okay, we could use him. I look at it now and go, when I was that age, when I was 15, 16, wow, I'm super popular. All these older guys want to hang out and come with us. We'll go for a drive and we'll do this and we'll do. Next thing you know, you're carrying a backpack full of stuff that you could be in jail for 10 years and you don't even realise. You think, I'm cool. They've paid me buttons to do this, and that was where you're at, because you just think it's not the right thing to do, but that's just it's how it is.
Trajectory you're going to go here. You're going to head towards. Yeah, exactly how it is. It's kind of you beat them or you join them or you get beat by them. So, and still to this day, I understand what they're doing because they've been brought up the same. People that are doing that to you, they've been brought up the same. So it takes someone to get out of that, to go, that's not what you have to do. It's not the way you need to go. You want to make money, you want nice cars. There's other ways of doing it without hurting people or ruining people's lives in the process. So it's and
it's not even like necessarily bad people get involved with that there. It's just the options for it's just part of the culture, and that's
as you said, it starts from being 10, 11, 12, and they get them running all sorts of jobs, and then you get locked into that world, and and that's how it is, and you don't get out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say it was bad people. If I'm honest, it was the intelligent people that, like I say, I was never a stupid, dumb kid. I knew how to calculate money from a young age, and I could run jobs and do stuff from a young age. That's why people go, okay, come with us, and then, well, I can make more money doing this. Well, I had an electrical apprenticeship when I was 18, but I was making way more money when I was 15, 16, 17. then, oh wow, I've got to do this job now, and I'm on a building site and I'm getting paid a tenth of what I was getting paid before. I was like, there's something to it, but...
And part of it as well is like you're looking after... A lot of people from that world, they'll be looking after their family as well.
Of course.
They'll have their mum, their grandma. They're not part of that life, but they're just dead broke. And they get involved with that to look after their mum, look after their grandma.
Yeah.
So often what they're doing, their intent's good. It's just the way they do it. It's just what they got, the path they went down.
It's your options, isn't it? Your options. I've never had to, my life, I've never had to fend for my own family. My family, my grandma, my brothers and sisters, they've always worked. Everyone's always worked in my family. Like I say, half the family are in the military, so we've always worked. I understand. I know the people you're talking about, that when they get in there and they start doing their food shopping, when they start helping out with rent when they're so young, you're stuck then. You're not getting out because your rent's not getting paid or your food's not getting... Ours wasn't to that level, but mine was like, I want a nice car, I want nice stuff, and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't your family.
More of your
for me, selfishly, it wasn't me feeding my family. Maybe you'd provide for your friends. We'd have nice nights out and we'd have nice cars, but yeah, the people that are at the level, again, that is survival, it's life survival. I see it and I saw it then, and that's a different story then. It's a very different... for example, I heard a podcast, Ross Kemp on gangs. Remember back in the day, Ross Kemp on gangs? He was doing a documentary about the Somalian pirates, and he interviewed the ships that were getting kidnapped, and the Somalian pirates they'd roll up on crappy little tinny boats with AK-47s, take these multi-million-dollar boats, and he interviewed the Somalian pirates, and he was saying... So what's the end game? What you doing with these boats? And he goes, we don't want nothing to do with these boats. He goes, we're proud farmers. All our crops have gone to shit with the climate change. Our families are starving, and then we've got rich people driving through we can see on these boats. We're going to take them. We're going to provide for our family at any means possible. So I see that side of life, and touch wood, I've never had to be in that kind of level of that kind of providing for your family, and you're going to hurt somebody and kill somebody. Yeah, that level of it. I've never been that deep, but I see it, and I understand it. I was going to say I respect it, then I'm not saying I respect it, but I understand it. If my family right now needed me to do some shit that got me in trouble but fed my family, then I'm doing some shit. I'm doing some dark shit. So, and I think most men would be in the same position of, I would give my life up to help them in that sense of stuff. So we're lucky, we're lucky in Australia, bloody hell.
How easy it is here.
It's the lowest unemployment rate in the world.
Oh, and you can be...
If you're not working in Australia,
there's not that. I mean,
you're lazy.
100%. Was there a point on that journey that you were in that you just went, you were either asked to do something that was just too much, or that you just went, I'm done with this? And then at what point did you...
Oh, wow, okay.
Veer away from that?
There was one pivotal time. I remember being 17, and I wasn't doing anything at the time. We had just gone on the train to Birmingham, and just went. I can't remember. We went to watch Aston Villa play. It was a soccer match. Went to watch the football, and there was a guy got chased off the train platform by the police, and as they caught him, we were all watching, and obviously we're nosy young men, we're all having a whatever day out, and as he fell, his bag fell open, and must have been maybe 500, 800 ecstasy tablets all fell out of his bag, and we seen it, and we thought, bloody hell, this guy was just a random guy sitting on the train, no one thought nothing of it, and I don't know how old he would have been, maybe 20. And I remember being with two mates and just thinking, his life's over now. He's fucked. Like, he would have been paid very little to do what he's doing. He's probably just been handed a backpack, and we didn't say nothing about it, but we're all kind of looking at each other going, we're heading that way of doing this kind of stuff, and it's just not, is it worth it? This guy's super, you wouldn't have noticed him, no one noticed him, but they're obviously watching him. He'd been surveillance, they're watching the guy pick up whatever he's picked up, this backpack. He's probably getting whatever, mate, I don't know, a couple of £100, £500, $1,000. He's a young man, 20 years old, he's in jail now for the next 5 years of his life. And I'm thinking, 17, thinking, fuck this. Like,
I can't go
yeah, I'm paying for a nice car and some nice things. I'll do without it. Then rather spend the best 5 years of my life away and that kind of stuff. So, and I was training hard at the time, and I was in the gym training, and we were martial arts training. So it's like my journey was to feed my lifestyle and to keep being able to train without having to work in a factory or work a 40-hour job, 9 to 5 kind of thing. So I remember seeing it without having to say nothing to each other. We just looked at each other going, like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I know I'm having an escape plan from this. I'm going to walk away. I'm like, you can't just say I'm out, because that's how it works, but you slowly, come away from it. Yeah, I've come away from it.
What started your MMA journey?
So I played football, pretty medium high level, semi-professional football. Played for Shifnal Town, played for a few good teams in the UK, where always played sport as a young man, always played sport. But I used to play football and get into a lot of fights during the matches. I was always known as
I know those.
I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't fucking believe it,
so
bro.
people would know you before you even started the game. And I've spoke to people since then, and their managers or captains would say, wind him up, kick him when...
To you?
Yeah, no, obviously not at the time, but they would be kicking you and they'd be starting fights with you. So I'd be like, fuck this. And you clock someone, fights would kick off, you'd get sent off, and you'd be one of the better players in the team. So they'd be happy to get punched or whatever to send you off to win games. So I sat in front of a committee more than a few times of the FA committee of like, you've done it again, you've been fighting, but he kicked me, or he said this about my mum, or blah blah blah, and they were like, we don't care. But so I've always played football, got into a lot of fights during playing football, which is pretty rare, but just that's the way you just, even playing football, is a very aggressive attacking midfield player where people love to watch and people loved you in your team because you'd get into it real hard, and the other team would know that, so they'd know you're going to get into them, so they'd back off even more unless they were the same, and then we'd clash and
wind you up.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then in my off season we'd do kickboxing training. So I'm like, fuck, I was started to enjoy the kickboxing training more than I did the soccer. I'm like, these footballers, they're like rolling around on the floor, they're getting hit, and they're like, oh my God, I've been shot. And as young men as well, we're watching the highest level, and they're not even getting touched, and they're falling over. And then I'd watch rugby or MMA, boxing, and these guys are getting hurt badly, and just a poker face, and like real men. I was like, I'm playing football, and I'm watching these rugby players get cleaned out, unconscious, and they're like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm okay. They're looking the wrong way. Yeah, I'm okay. They run the wrong direction. Yeah. How many fingers are they holding up? Which hand do you I don't even know what. But just I remember getting to the age of realising, where do you want to be? I don't want to be in. I can't mix with these type of people when they're just weak. I looked at it as weak men kind of thing. Yeah, I get it. They're highly paid athletes, but
they're hard sports, like the because I've always played rugby union and
nice
contact sports as well, like, or jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. I've never done MMA, but like sports that there's directly, if someone fucking winds you up, there's direct consequences.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports like soccer, fucking basketball, you can get like a lot of niggle on, but you can't really get into them.
No.
So I was like, fuck that, man. I wouldn't know how you deal with the guy that really niggled you. Whereas at least in rugby union, you can line him up. Or if he's
100%.
If he's in a mole, just at the bottom of a rock.
I see it.
Out of it.
Yeah, I see it. They just nod. They clean each other out and they go, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. Or obviously in MMA or boxing,
of course,
or jiu-jitsu.
Even water polo that I played, I've lost a tooth. Like
water polo, yeah.
Water polo is dirty, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
That is good.
all of a sudden it's wrong.
I've never seen pink water polo. It's all like rich people, isn't it, on the horses? It's pretty much the same. I've watched a couple of games. I'm like, whoa! I was going to come to the water game, but it's like, well, I kind of, it's more than, way more than I thought. I think more than most people think water polo's fairly aggressive.
I wanted to ask you also, because you mentioned you grew up like with your grandma and all the stuff. Was your dad around at all, like in your life?
Yeah. So I have a different father to my brothers and sisters. So my dad was involved. My mum passed away, like I say, when I was 2.5, and my dad tried to stay involved. And there was when my mum first passed away, probably for the first year and a half, my dad used to take me away on weekends, which is normal, which is still now, custody wars and all that kind of stuff. Weekends with my dad, and then Monday to Friday with my grandma and my brothers and sisters. And my nan, basically, as an adult, what I wasn't explained when I was younger, but my nan made it very hard for my dad to come and collect me on a Friday and take me till Monday, and the reason because I was coming back with different kind of morals and just teaching. My dad was teaching me a different way than what my nan was teaching me, so my nan felt at the time the best thing for me was to keep me and my brothers and sisters under one roof, under the Irish law of you do what we say. I can only imagine a 3-year-old. My son's now is 3.5, and they've got little smart ass comments to stuff, and I can imagine me coming home going, yeah, but my dad said this, and my brothers and sisters probably thinking, well, they're not going away. They're like. And I remember when I first met my dad, properly sat down with my dad, I'd been arrested a fair few times, and my grandma always used to threaten me, saying, I'm going to call your dad, and I'm thinking, I don't give a fuck who you call. Like, there's no one that can. I'm 17 now. I'm 18. I'm the man. Who's going to tell me what to do?
You still are.
But it's so stupid. So stupid. When I think 17, you haven't got a clue what life is about, and you don't know what's going on really. But first time I'd met my dad previously, briefly, but 17 years old, I arranged to meet him. I've had my dad's house phone number this whole time since I was a kid. I've known where he's lived. My dad is actually hand-delivered a birthday card every year, which my nan kept, and it would come through the post and she would keep it, and she kept them all. No, she wouldn't show me, no. Just because it would make me ask questions, and it would question her authority. I'm guessing this is the thought behind it. So I met my dad when I was 17, and I'd been arrested. I'm due to go to Crown Court about whenever big charges, or reasonably big charges at the time. It's big for me. And so he come and pick me up, and we sit in the car, and I was all frosty, and I'm like, well, I was like, yeah, what are you going to tell me that I need? You've not been around since I was a kid. You're going to step in my life when I'm 17 and start telling me what to do and what not to do. And he goes, I'm not going to tell you anything. My dad literally just was driving. He says, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to give you any authority. You've contacted me, which I'm glad you did. If you want to talk like adults, we can talk. But if you're going to use attitude and all this kind of stuff and talk about why I haven't been here, I'll explain to you why I've not been in your life. You take it how you want to take it, and then we can go from there. I expect him to grovel and be like, oh, I'm so sorry I've not been around, and he didn't give it. It's not he didn't give it. He didn't care. It's not he didn't care. He just explained his side of it, and I was like, okay, it makes complete sense. Yeah, I can. Matter of fact, and I respected him for it. I thought, even as a 17-year-old, I thought, I would have done the same. He goes, I could have went through the court system and just took custody of you and took you away with would have been my stepmom at the time and his new wife. I could have took you away. He goes, but you had a brother and 2 sisters there. Your nan was grieving for her daughter. If I peel one of the kids away, he goes, I thought at the time, the best thing was to leave you there. And he goes, and I just thought, when you're old enough, you can come and speak to me, and we can talk like men. And I just respected him for it, and I just said, yeah, okay. Still, at the time of 17, I was sitting in the car with all that attitude, going, yeah, fuck you, and all. But then I thought, wow, he didn't grovel. He explained his side of it. Take it if you want it. If you don't want it, don't take it. And I just thought, it took me a little while to understand it fully, but
it's good though. Like, it seems that he actually thought about what's best for you and chose between actually fighting that battle, and we all know like what happens with the fortune of the
disaster.
Stuff. Yeah,
disaster. Yeah, you try and fight for custody now. Men try and fight for custody of kids. It's just a disaster for the money that gets spent, wasted. The solicitors are
they win.
Awful.
Yeah,
they're
the
awful.
impact that they can have also like
the impact between the parents. Having a child is so difficult. You need two parents. You really do. You need parents, and if you don't have two parents together, you still need two parents. You like to act together, and it's like a bit. I always talk like it's a business. You need to bounce off each other, whether you like it or not. You need to work together through it all. Boys, girls, you need to show them the right role models. Whether I like you or you like me, that doesn't matter now that we're apart. It doesn't matter, but you need to be there for the child or for the teenager or whatever. It's a difficult time, and the courts are just like slimy, horrible dirtbags where they're taking so much money. They don't give a shit. They don't care about if this kid grows up and is on drugs and whatever. The kid could have the worst life, but they just want the money. They want the money. They want the parents to argue more so they can drag it out more.
It's a business also.
It is. It's a business, yeah. So, yeah, it's a dark part of human life, which I feel like it's starting to change a little bit but it all depends on how the parents are, how the adults are. Like whether we like each other or not, we have to work together. It's like business, whether it's martial arts, whether it's fighters, whether it's some kind of sport, whether I like you or not, we're working towards a goal that we need to achieve. So it's when you want to be a cock about it, or you want to be an arsehole, then it's just going to be harder for everybody. You're making it harder for yourself, basically. So yeah, it's a tough one.
Do you ever tap into that? I guess the dark side of the past in your upbringing, when with regard to fighting, in terms of like managing your mindset when you go into a fight.
Yes. There's I tell a lot of the boys about this stuff, and everyone's got that. I feel privileged in that way. That's why I say I would never change anything.
I feel you.
It's a big drive.
Yeah. There's things I think about that I wouldn't repeat now, because you'd think you are sadistic, horrible bastard, you dark bastard. But it's real life, and it's for example, whether it's algorithms on Instagram or whatever, I see dark stuff all the time. People getting stabbed and shot, and the world is. I'm a big geek for history, war history. Whether it's Germans, whether it's Japanese, whether it's Genghis Khan, whether it's Hitler. This is real shit. Whether you want to go Osama bin Laden, whoever you want to talk about, this is real. This is happening. Stuff's happening right now. There's dark human beings doing dark stuff. So whether you want to pretend it's not happening and go, oh no, but say for example, here's a funny one. My wife's like, no, peace. And I'm a strong, an eye for an eye. I'm a strong believer. If you hurt me, hurt my family, you're gonna feel some ramifications. You're gonna feel some consequences. My wife's like, no. An eye for an eye means the world will be blind. Yeah, go fuck yourself. That's not. I wish that was the. I wish
that's
that
why
was.
you got 2 eyes.
I wish that was the way. I wish, but no. There's always been war since human race has been around, and there always will be. There'll always be dark people that psychopathic or whatever it is. So you need some men to fight against that. You need people to have that. So I've got many things in my life that I've seen and been around that I disagree with, but it's a dark page, and I think I recall stuff like that, and I vividly remember stuff, and I think it just gives you fire and gives you nasty thoughts where you can push through things where you wouldn't normally. Where some people haven't got that. I've got some of my best friends in the gym. They've had the biggest silver spoon life in there, and they're still hard training people, but they don't have that killer instinct of, when it comes to it, how dark are you willing to go? And I understand not everyone's got that, and not everyone needs that. Some people are just so athletic or so dedicated and technical, they come around it. But I think if you look through history, the best martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, people in the whole world have been through tough upbringings and dark
pages of their life where they would pull back on and go, like you talked about earlier in the beginning, our family's not eating in Thailand. They're fighting to feed their family. People, they fly over the world. They're fighting to feed their family. I remember, like you were talking about Soa earlier. I remember Soa saying this to me when I first moved to Perth. I trained with him for a little bit, and I was only young. I wasn't young, 25, and I had a professional fight coming up. And he was like, think about someone taking food. He goes, have you got kids? I goes, no. And he goes, think about this guy you're about to fight, taking food out of your son's mouth. And I'm like, I haven't even got a son, but okay.
It takes food out of my mouth.
I was like, I don't know, but the thought behind it was so powerful. Like, he's taking something from you.
Yeah, man. And things like combat's different than other sports. Like, you go to, especially the further you go in as a professional, the better because you're just going against the same sort of guys, and they're all fucking background, and they're all talented, they're all hardworking, and I mean, you can still get the occasional guy who's got the silver spoon, he's just built like that, and he can do it. But generally speaking, there's a lot of trauma,
majority
pain that drives these guys to be able to, and they can take, and even the ones that are, you got the 10 out of 10 trauma like Tyson, the poster boy of a trauma. But I mean, but then you get other guys who are like they're very nice and respectful, and they came from that upbringing. They hire that, and they would tap straight into that.
100%.
When they go to fight, they could be peaceful in general, but they know that place comes out when they fight.
100%.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's even like as guys, it's funny, like going back to what you're saying, how like people try and just talk through everything. Something about being a man as well is it's hard for a lot of women to understand, like, guys should have a genuine fear. If they fucking say something to someone, I could get punched in the face.
Yes.
And that's something a lot of women don't have. Like, a lot of guys have it. So it's a good thing because it keeps guys in check. Because if the guys didn't have the fear of getting smacked in the face, they'll say whatever the fuck they want.
Which,
you know what I mean? And I think it's, even though guys shouldn't go smacking guys in the face, but it's just the possibility. The possibility that if I say something real disrespectful, real smart, I could cop it. Is actually good for society.
Yeah, 100%.
It keeps guys in check.
In check, 100%.
You have keyboard warriors nowadays.
That's the key.
So I mean, with keyboard warriors, that's obviously where things have started to go. There's no repercussions for a lot of these, for the actions, because there's some of the shit that people say, man. The level of disrespect is like
the fact that you can actually hide behind the screen and the keyboard, create an identity, a false identity, and actually just express like whatever, like darkness or anything. Like, it's so dangerous at the same time, and we can see also like what's happening even with pedophiles and like the very dark stuff, and how they can actually like infiltrate even on social media and everything through that.
It's appalling. It's something in the human race right now that is one of it's causing so many problems. I was going to say it's one of the darkest things. There's lots of, like I said earlier, there's lots of dark things going on in the world. There's war, there's, like I say, paedophiles, there's murders, there's rapes, there's lots of stuff, but people are hiding because it's so easy to make up fake profiles and to meet young girls and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on where people are just the lowest demographic, the lowest of low human beings can pretend they're somebody else, and they can touch different people, or they can get into your home, they can lie and get their ways around stuff where they never had an opportunity to do that before. Where, from my point of view, as a father of a young boy, as a young man, I'm trying to grow him, I'm trying to raise him in the best way possible. And this scares the shit out of me. I was brought up in social media. I was brought up in we had chat groups, we had dating sites, we had all that kind of stuff. But now it's just prolific, where the kids just, they say what they want to each other. Say like I said in the very beginning, my first week of school, who you think you're tough? Well, you're gonna fight. You're gonna get on the playground now. We walk to this park and everyone stands around and they cheer and we fight. Now the kids can just say whatever they want online, and when they get home, the kids are still getting that shit. They're still getting that abuse, and it could be anything. I was
you might not believe me. I was the skinniest, smallest kid in my year at school, so little and skinny, and people were like, "Oh, you're skinny, you're goofy." Had braces. I'm like, "Fuck, man, I'm getting it from everywhere." I'd get home, I'd be like, "Man, everyone's giving me shit." My sister was like, "Yeah, shut up, you skinny, goofy, whatever." And I'm like, "Fuck." My sister's giving it and all that kind of stuff, but there's no escape now. The kids, there's no escape. There's such a high rate of male young men suicide rates because there's no resilience. There's no, I call it tough skin, just general tough skin where, whatever, someone just called you goofy, ginger, big nose, big ears, fucking ugly, whatever, you stink of BO, whatever. It's not the end of the world. A few years from now, no one will even remember this. You'll be whatever, and thou shall pass. That's the big, like, thou shall pass. Stuff will blow over, but at the time it's the biggest thing ever. It's the biggest thing, and even now I've read some comments after fights, and people are like, "Burn you," and the thing about it, they hit nerve spots, and I think, "Fuck you, little bastard!" I've got to the point.
You got me.
Honestly, I've got to the point where I'm like looking at the picture, trying to break the picture down, going, "I'll come to your school." How old? He's got to be at least 15. I will fucking hit this 15-year-old in the face so hard just to teach you a lesson, because you can't say that about people.
That was only last week.
Oh no, well, it wasn't last week, but it wasn't that long. It wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago, I promise you. But
in saying that, you've had a good professional MMA career, but you're obviously probably you came back and did well in your last fight a few weeks ago. But after your previous fight, which was probably, was that a title fight? It was with
main event title, yeah.
So
2019.
After coming out of that loss the way it happened, and obviously now that people actually see how fucking good Della is.
Yes.
And now you don't even look at it and go, "Fuck me, like he's number 14 in the UFC and he's going to keep going up."
Yeah.
So you look at it and go, "Fuck, well, I mean, we got knocked out by a fucking world class guy."
Yeah.
How was speaking of the keyboard warriors, or how your mental health was around that sort of period? How did you process it all? Because obviously you would have no doubt got some shit online.
So much.
And
you'd be surprised. To be honest, whether it's the national circuit, the lower level stuff, I got some shit, and I still do now. I still get some comments come up on YouTube, and I got one like just before this fight. Someone commented, and you know what it is. You speak to the top guys and don't read the comments, but we're all egotistical and we're all you're like, this person means nothing to me. I don't care what they think or what they do, but I still read your comment and it still hurt. But it's just it is what it is, and maybe that's just me. You can't get away from it. But after the Della fight. Obviously it's tough. I've lost fights before that, and I've lost title fights before that. I've been knocked down before. This wasn't the first time I've been knocked down. It wasn't the first fight that I've lost. It wasn't the first battle in my life that I've set up to win, so hard set up and lost, and it hurts, and it doesn't make it any easier. But obviously to see him doing so well now, which I'm just like, well, he's obviously good, isn't he? He's obviously a very high level guy, and I can make all the the worst thing for me is when people go, right, well, I had a flu, I had this before the fight, but I'm not making excuses. and I'm
making excuses.
Yeah.
Mate,
I had Corona before it came out. And
I was the fucking OG.
The neighbour's dog died, and it just set me off. And we've all got excuses.
That's why I gassed out.
I can never say never, but I'll try my hardest never to make excuses. The better man won on the night. With the fight, if you want to break the fight down, like emotionally, you said mental health wise, I would have preferred to go, it was a 5-round fight, 5-minute rounds, so 25-minute fight. I would have preferred to have been beaten up for 25 minutes than to lose in a minute and a half and not know what happened. I don't remember walking back to the changing room. I don't remember. I had a brain fog and just lost time where I had to get back to the changing room and go, what happened? And they were like, he slipped and he swapped stance and uppercut, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
we're still fighting. What's going on? They were like, no, you're done.
Can you back it?
Yeah, I was like,
Give him a
fucking
call.
rematch. but it's difficult. I'd rather go out on your sword and go, okay, well, face forward. This is how I've always said I am fighting in life. Face forward. You eat the raft of fire. You live in fire. You fight with it. Don't try and hide away now. And you got smoked and you got knocked out and brutally as well, stiffened. Look like a bloody stiff pole. Face planted, boom, and it's good. It took me a while now. 2019, so why is it nearly 4 years, 3 years? It took me a while to come to grips with it, but he's just a good guy. There's loads of good athletes. There's loads of good people. The thing with that whole scenario is it was like, and this is going excuses. I just said I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm making excuses right now. No. You were like, I see. You look at the highest level UFC guys. You look at the Eternal, whatever the fight promotion. There's people set up to win and lose. Like I'm coming off a big layoff, just changed gyms, bumped into a title fight. I'm on the back of a loss. You don't get title fights, whatever. But I understand it, and I even respect the moves his team have made to go get this loss back. Good fight, getting where you can, kind of thing. And it is what it is. Mental health wise, it's difficult, but it's like. When I'm here you go. Here's a good story. So days after that fight, I don't want to see anybody. I've got so many unread messages and well done and all that kind of jazz and blah blah blah. I went to buy a second-hand shelving unit from IKEA from somebody, a fucking marketplace, from my son's bedroom. And I went to this house and I'm like, I've avoided everyone for the last 3 days. I've gone completely under radar, not answering calls, blah, blah, blah. Just like, and I went to this house, so random. I wish I knew the names now because I'm going to butcher it. But I'm in the house, I'm like, I've come to collect this thing, not knowing anyone. I'd driven somewhere up north, I think it was near Butler. And the people were there, South African family, and the dad answered the door. Yeah, you come to get the shelving. Yeah, call. Call. And he walked back in the house, and he came back with his son, and he goes, "We watched your fight last weekend, and it was so inspirational. We've seen your comments that you put on." And I said, "Yeah, listen." He goes, "My son, he's started MMA. He's been training jiu-jitsu for the last couple of years, and we came to watch the fight and blah blah blah." And he goes, "The fact you're here now," and I said, "So happy." You didn't mention anything about, you just seem like a happy guy. I said, yeah, obviously the thing in life, I said to the young lad at the time at the door, we win and lose, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's MMA, you're going to win, you're going to lose. If you don't lose, you're not trying hard enough. That's the biggest thing I remember someone saying to me, cheating, people saying cheating, whether you want to go down the breaking the law or whatever, it's all the same thing. Cheating, breaking the law, you're not trying hard enough to get what you want if you're not doing something to bend the rules. So I said to the young man at the time in the front door, just whatever you want to do, just try so hard for it. You're going to lose. Of course you're going to lose. If you don't lose, you're not trying hard enough. And they were like, "Oh, it's so nice, blah, blah, blah." They took pictures. I'm like, "Can I just take the shelving unit? Fuck, I don't even want to be here." Like, it's the first time I left the house in 2 days. I'm like, whatever. But it was just nice to see the other side of it. See, they don't know you. They're just consumers. They came to watch the fight. The guys at the jiu-jitsu, the guys started training. The dad had took his son to watch it and go, "This is what the sport you want to get into. This is what it is." And just randomly, the main event came to his house like days later, and he just said, it was beautiful to see how you carry yourself, and yeah, I said, it is what it is. I put myself there to win or lose. If you could have won, you could have been rolling into the sun now. There could have been you in the UFC doing all this kind of stuff, and don't get me wrong, it's hard to put that in your brain to go, "Oh, I wish that could have been me," or "That could be me," and "Oh, I wish I won the lottery. I wish that." Well, fucking just work, and even if you don't win what you want to win, the journey of you working is the thing that clicks in your brain that you don't even know it's there, but it's clicked and gone. That's what it is. That's not winning the lottery, not winning the main event, being in the UFC. Obviously, money and fame and all that shit, but it's the trying to get there is the
enjoying the
The real prize is It's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, you lose track of it, but that's the real prize that when you.
And particularly when you got a vision that's beyond just a set point. That's almost like an infinite vision. You just keep working and working and working, which is, if you want trying to be a world champion, the goal is probably to be world champion.
Yeah,
I guess the next thing is build a big legacy, but then after that, it's done.
Yeah, of course.
Then you need a new purpose.
Where do these guys go after they're world champions?
Which is why a lot of guys think fall apart.
It's like...
about failure is such an important feedback system as well. And if you're not failing, not pushing hard enough.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, the more you fail, the more feedback you're getting about what you're doing wrong, what you're fucking up, and it's essential. But the thing is, it's amazing how people are so terrified of it.
Yeah,
because it all goes back to the fear of other people's opinions.
Opinion of someone that you don't care about, what they think about you.
It's great. I mean,
so you don't even know and care about.
I know.
But oh my God, everyone's going to see. They're going to see what I did or said or done, and you're like, when you really break it down and go, I don't give a fuck about what this person thinks about me.
Did you review your? We spoke to this about Saad today, like when he had his big loss in the UFC, his first loss, and you really said how lonely it was when you thought everyone's on their knees, fucking giving it to you, and everyone, you're the man, you're the man, you're the man. Then you go there, you have a loss, and then he said he was sitting there having a steak on his own after. He's going, fuck, this is lonely.
Yeah.
Did you have a moment after that where you thought you reviewed some of your circle and went, okay, these ones are the real motherfuckers. These other ones, they're a bunch of flaky.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. So I've had that more in the pinnacle of my life, in the fighting career. So I lost to a guy called Nick Wood from Bunbury MMA. At the time when I first fought Della, which we'll get back to that, but Nick Wood was the main man in WA. He was smoking everyone was avoiding him. He was the main man. I was all cocky. I came over here backpacking, fought him on a Muay Thai show with an MMA main event. Like, it was like a comedy, like, oh, we'll do some MMA in the ring. It's like, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just fought on Hex the week before, a few weeks before. Yeah, I'll fight this bum from Bunbury, some farmer kid. He knocked me out way worse than Della did. He staunched me so hard. I nearly fell out the ropes. Then he fell onto a table. Honestly, this is fact. I fell onto a table. Obviously, I was single at the time. I was dating this girl, whatever, like one of the Tinder girls or whatever. She was just one of them, whatever. But she invited all her workmates there, and they had a VIP table. I'm the big cheese. I'm like, yeah, come watch me fight. Blah blah blah. They've bought the best table. She worked at some fancy bougie designer shop in the city. Like, we're back and forth. He's just beating me up. He's beating me up badly. And then the third round, started coming to the fight a little bit, like, yeah, wicked. And he just slipped my right hand and just whacked me so hard. Right hand on the pipe, bang. I fell out the ring. Like, the middle rope was keeping me in onto the table of this girl that I had met. I've only known this because the video scene, it was like, so I'm out cold over the ropes, like, and there's a wicked picture of the girl holding me. Brutal, so bad.
It was worth the VIP.
Oh my God, she's literally like, I don't even know who this guy is. They're like, yeah, this is the one that you said you were in. Me in? No, it's not.
So you're
this is the black guy from England. But yeah, that was brutal. But anyway, so I rematched Nick years later, main event on Eternal again. What would it have been? 2017, 16, and it was between the people that were close to me. It was like, if you don't, like, at this time, I'm like UFC driven. I'm like UFC. I'm going to get to the very top. UFC champion, blah blah blah. Smoked Della, smoked anyone around me except for him in this Muay Thai bullshit event. So I'm like, if I can't beat this guy in the local scene, then I'm gonna retire now. I'm not gonna keep going with this dream. And a brutal fight, back and forth. He was good, and I'm sure he still is good. We were killing each other, like, real. It's a tough fight. Anyway, ended up beating him badly as well. Does a lot of damage to him. Blah blah blah. Fight's ended. He couldn't come out of the second round. He was hurt, and that night, everyone's like, celebrity, wow, you're the famous, you're this big and fancy. Both my hands were broke, my face was a mess, my shins were a mess. Everyone's done this big after party. I've gone home on my own, like you're asking your question, that dark time. So I've gone home on my own. My missus has gone to sleep. I'm at home on my own. This is probably the main event was about 10:30 at night in the Italian club. I'm home by 11:30. Sitting on my own. I was so banged up I couldn't take my rashie off. I was stuck in my house with my rash guard on, 2 hands with ice packs on them, my whole face with an ice pack on it, just sitting in the lounge on my own thinking, fucking hell, I've got no one around. Like, this is the loneliest, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened in my life, sport-wise, and it's the loneliest time I've ever had in my life. I'm like the people that think they matter, they don't matter. Let's go to this after party, we're going to drink, we're going to do this. And I'm like, no one gives a fuck right now. I can't even move. My brother FaceTimed me from the UK. They've all watched his live stream. My brother, my sister, a fair few of my mates are all in the background, they're all cheering. Yeah, fuck yeah, that was a brilliant fight. You've done this, you've done that. And they go, where the fuck are you? They go, what are you doing? And I'm like, beating up on my sofa. And they're like, are you okay? You're like, what's going on? I goes, I'm just a bit banged up. I didn't want to go out. They're like, did the boys not come back to yours? Where's your missus or where's anybody? And I'm like, nah, I'm just sitting on my own. I'm like, I'm pouring a champagne with like a gammy hand, and like cheers to my brother through FaceTime. And I just remember thinking, fighting is a lonely sport. When you need to understand, this is not. You're needed when you're needed, but when you're not, you're gone. Like you
disposable.
Yeah, so disposable. The next guy is on. You're out. They're on. So until you learn that, and you probably don't know that as a young man, because you just don't know that. You think the world evolves around me. Yeah, but I'm the top dick. Do you not see that last fight or that last performance or the podcast that I did or the photo shoot that I did? I'm famous. And all these girls are chasing me. You start losing, you start getting banged up or whatever. It's like, see ya, you're gone. So it's
So more importantly, did the Tinder girl give you a message?
Yeah,
after redemption.
After the first request.
She would have liked to win that night.
She was like, yeah, we had a really great night until you nearly fell on top of our table. That's literally, it's how it went. I remember, I was like, oh my God. I was thinking I'm just going to block a number. I don't even She's gone, but she's like, we had a really great night until obviously till the end. But, yeah.
So in terms of what have you been doing these days in terms of obviously fighting professional MMA? What are you doing career-wise these days? I see you doing a few modelling or acting.
Do you mean money work or
money work,
okay. So I run an electrical business. I run a solar business, which I started just over 12 months ago, which has gone full time in the last 6 months, which is funding my life, funding my family, funding my house and stuff like that. So it's going really, really well. Renewable solar projects. If anyone needs solar in their house, hit us up. We'll look after you. We can do a free PT. No. Yeah. So that's what I've done since, like I said, when I said in the beginning, I started an electrical apprenticeship when I was 18. So I've always had an income. I've always had I don't want to say backup, a plan B, but that's always been there. Because now, 36 years old, I believe you shouldn't have a plan B. You should go all in. All in. I can different now. I can. If anyone asks me, the guys in my gym, or I've got a few boys that hit me up on Instagram and just ask me questions and stuff like that. And I just think, from me, when I moved to Australia, straight away I tied myself in with finance stuff and a nice flash car. Yeah, great. That's 30 grand of finance. If I'd just not worried about stuff like that, just trained, you don't know where you could have got to. So it's like, just don't tie yourself in. Just try and concentrate on. I've always had a backup. I've always had a financial income where you don't rely on fighting. Where, like I said in the beginning, like the Somalians or when you rely on something, you will go all in to the death to get there. Where if you go, but if I don't get it, I'll just go back to my normal 9 to 5. I'll do that. Where I think that's a bit of a problem, and that
pulls you away from actually like properly putting.
Yeah. It's like a get out clause. I can tell you right now on that last fight, just for example, just a small example that's fresh in the memory. The weight cut was pretty difficult weight cut, and there was people going.
This recent one.
Yeah, on the recent one.
And I saw you fucking 3 or 4 days before for an adjustment.
You're
fighting it for
2 days before. 2 days.
2 days.
2 days.
For people that don't know, because you fought on, that's right, you fought on a Saturday night, you weighed in on Friday. For people that don't know, you fight at welterweight. That's 77 kilos.
77.4 kilos.
I'm 91 and you're fucking bigger than me. That was.
How was it?
The caliber, so there's a bit of body fat there. But like you're fucking massive for a welterweight, and to have that like 2 days before.
2 days, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, how tall are you?
6'2" and a half on a good day. Yeah.
And you're a big. You always look like a solid middleweight.
Yes.
Yeah. Let alone getting. I couldn't believe it.
I'd be cutting weight for middleweight.
Yeah, you would be. Yeah. So do you intend on still fighting it?
Yeah. So obviously that's a long layoff. I started 8 weeks out, 9 weeks out, and I've done all the protocol that I've done in the past, and I'm fit and I'm strong, and the weight just wasn't changing. It was just so different. But I'm having DEXA scans. I'm having my body. I'm having bloods. I'm having what's going on with me, and then it comes down to at a knee injury operation, full recon, and then in that time I spent like maybe 12 months of just crunching weights in the gym every day, just like for mental health. Just I was in the gym every day, just like early morning weights, legs, chest, biceps, bullshit, like just crunching weights for no reason, but I'd put on so much lean muscle that I get DEXA scans every 6 months, and it all broke down by a professional, and they were like, your body fat's less than it was 5 years ago, but your lean muscle has gone up by 5 kilos. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? So what do I need to do for that? And they were like going, you need to lose the muscle or go up a weight class and stuff like that. So the protocol was the same as what it's always been, but you've just, from the injury, the cardio just got killed for so long that you need to adjust basically with age as well. Age, obviously getting older, lean body mass, there's just a few more factors thrown into it now. So, but like I say, still made the weight. Them dark days came into that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's a bit of resilience and stubbornness to go. If I've said I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like whether it kills me on the way in, and it's gonna. That's if I've said to somebody, if I've looked in the face and I'm going to do it, I will do it, just because it means a lot to me when someone says that to me, and I can hold you by that. And I'm going to go, yeah, it means a lot.
In terms of one thing we've spoken about a fair bit off camera, and a lot about what this podcast is about modern masculinity. So what's your thoughts on sort of the state of affairs of where things are at currently?
Obviously, there's a lot to cover in the modern masculinity. We spoke briefly touched upon, same as Theo, we spoke just before it started. There's to break it down, the facts for me are boys need, women as well. Women, I'm not segregating any boys or women. You need a strong role model. You need somebody to look up to and go, wow, they're doing well. Like it's like you need it more than anything, and you don't realize how much you need it until you see these people. And some, when I was younger, and some people, they pick the wrong role models. You pick people going on the wrong tracks and stuff like that. So when I was younger, pick bad role models. My role models now, I still have role models now. There's still people that I look upon their life through social media and go, what are they doing? I'm going to try and copy what they do well, and copy it. So there's my top guys personally are like number one, probably Jocko Willink, David Goggins, Jordan Peterson. They're like top guys. Joe Rogan, top guys where they're just doing well. They've all been through adversity, and they're not letting it hold them back. They're just striving for the best. Nothing can stop them. We've got one life. Nothing can stop them. So when I was younger, I didn't have that same kind of the role models. I had probably family members where they break the rules now and again. They did what they needed to do, but
you feel it starts from that, from a family unit?
Possibly. You don't know what's right and wrong when you're young. You don't know what's right and wrong. Like what me and you were talking about. I'm a fan of Andrew Tate, and I the good things that he says, I'm all on board. I actually don't really listen too much to the negative stuff that he says. Like we said, my wife, she's against him, and she's in the educational sector of Australia and WA. So she's seeing these young men growing up going, yeah, but Andrew Tate said this, and he said girls should have as many people they slept with tattooed on their forehead, and I'm like, yeah, it's jokes. Body count. I'm like, he's obviously joking. It's a joke. I could say to you right now, jump off the bridge, and don't jump off it. Like that's just tongue in cheek. So I know that, and she's like, yeah, but how old are you and your life experience? These young men don't know that he's joking. It's tongue in cheek, and I'm like, oh, shut up. You forget that they need actual direction, like word for word. They're going to take you on word for word, like brainwashed, and go, this is what it is. So I'm a big fan of Tate because I understand what he's doing. I understand his dad is one of the number one chess players in the world. So is Tate, and world champion kickboxer. So not only is he a martial artist, he's actually really intelligent as well. So
and from nothing as well.
From nothing. From nothing. So there's a lot of factors in there, but also he's making a lot of money from, for example, this university course that he's punching out, and I just don't know, because I'm not obviously signed up to it, but what is it teaching? Is it teaching? A big thing for me is that I never got taught when I was younger, finances, actual finance, the rules of finance, of credit ratings, you need credit, you need to use the bank's money to build your wealth is a necessity. I never knew that. I was like,
most people, financial acumen doesn't get taught to them.
No one teaches you because they don't want you to know, because people don't want you to know, because if everyone knew that, then there's going to be people going, fuck my credit card off and go away from that, and loans and credit cards at these high interest rates.
You can't control people as well.
You can't.
When people have got control of their health, finances, their mental state,
powerful,
and their kids, it's like,
yeah,
how can you control them? That's not in the.
That's to me where the old school men come into it, where they are in control of a lot of stuff. Where you can't say, if you say something to me right now, you tell me something, I'll listen to you and go, okay. But if I don't agree, I'll do my research and go, that's bullshit. I'm gonna do what you told me to do because you said it. Whether it's government, whether it's some academic people. Whatever, the system. I don't want to say the matrix and the system, but that's what it's true. Though it's true. It's to a degree.
People used to call it the elites or whatever.
The elites,
but it is, the matrix is essentially the word for that system. And there's an agenda that system runs,
and that's real.
And it's real. It's very real.
It's very real.
What's fatherhood taught you about yourself?
It's very, very big question. Very From what, talking about the masculinity and the figures we know that are in the media and stuff like that. So I see that now, and I need to direct my son in the right direction in life and try and shadow him away. He's only 3 years old, but I'm looking towards the future, and everything I do now, my son watches everything I do. When, say for example, I try to eat very healthy. I don't like to drink, or I don't say I like to drink, but I try not to. But just you try and live a healthy life, and say for example, I finish work, whatever, bring home, I'm drinking a can of Coke, which is very rare, but I'm drinking a can of Coke, and I see him look at me, and I'm like, I feel like a piece of shit. I'm like, don't even show him this stuff, because everything he does, I'm like I to the point where your youngest memories of when you were a kid, I remember them things now. You talk about, like, going back to the beginning, the dark things that you saw when you were a kid, and I think I don't want my son to, I'm not saying he's not seeing anything dark, he's not going to see anything that I saw, but I don't want him to see me eating chocolate and crisps and whatever, just negative things where everything you do now is measured by something bigger than you. So even to the point with the fights, so a big thing for me was you can never walk away on a loss. I'm going to teach my son, you win, you lose. Like we said earlier, you win, you lose. It's just part of life. Imagine me now losing to Dad. I don't give a shit if Dad gets to the world championships or whatever. You lose and you take your ball home. You're like, oh wow, fuck this, I don't want to do it anymore, and just quit. It's like, it's massive to fight and win, and if I lose again, I'm going to show him that you're going to lose, but keep going to what you're trying to get towards, because it's the journey of going towards what you're trying to achieve. But it teaches you a lot. Being a father teaches you a lot, especially for me, having a son. I think I can relate to everything that's going on, and I remember my interactions with male figures as a young man, and just you're a sponge, you pick up on everything, and I see that in him now. And for example, he asks me every day, Daddy, you going to the gym? You going to the gym, Daddy? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the gym. Daddy goes to the gym every day. He goes, Daddy, going to the gym in the middle of this last fight camp. It's quite good. There was days where brutal. I'm getting home. I'm in so much pain. I'm taking bloody painkillers, anti-inflammatories. My body's ruined. And he'd get home and he'd stroke my head and go, Daddy, you saw. Daddy, don't cry, Daddy. It's okay. Because there was times I would just get in the lounge. Don't speak to anyone. I'm just sitting with my head in my hands, in pain, thinking, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, why? And I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to be on my own in the dark. My son would walk in the room and go, stroke my head and go, Daddy, it's okay. You saw, Daddy. It's okay. Don't cry, Daddy. It's okay. I'm like, Daddy's never going to cry. Never. But I'm like, no. I'd say to him, it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. It's because Daddy's been training so hard and I'm in pain, but look, I'll smile because I'm happy, because I put myself in this pain. I've done this to myself. And everything you do, like, you sit with your friends, or whether it's social media or people on the outside or your family, even people on the inside. But when it's my son is me, my son, Aldin Bates, that's my son's name. We're in the car, I'm ordering a new car key, whatever, key fob. And I said, yeah, spelling my name out, Aldin Bates, blah, blah, blah. And my son just clicked yesterday that we have the same name. He went, Daddy, you Aldin Bates. I'm Aldin Bates. And I went, yeah. I said, you're Aldin Bates, so am I Aldin Bates. And he was like, so you're Daddy Aldin Bates, me Aldin Bates. Just these little things you don't realise that, and childhood is not, and parenting is not for everybody, but whether it's parenting or people are watching you need to make a good example of try to, and at least try. I'm not saying everyone can be a role model, and like now, like we said earlier, Instagramming, like an influencer, we all want to be special, and someone,
need to be special.
Like the need to be watched by people. I don't care who watches, but like you would as well, right? You'd get a lot of people message you and DMing you and asking you questions. I get a few questions now and again, and I think, just be honest. Like, you probably won't expect what I'm going to say, but I'm just going to be honest of what I think. This is what I done. It might not suit you, but if it does, take it. Like you said about the Goggins thing. Goggins is a savage human being from the worst upbringing you could ever imagine. The dark pages he has in his life will top anybody's by far. And he's saying what works for him. If it works for you, then take it upon yourself and work with it. But if it doesn't, turn it away. That's the whole thing of the whole woke crowd of, I'm offended by what you've said, and I'm offended by this. You're offended. What is being offended? An emotion, a feeling. Who gives a fuck about your feelings? People are dying. There's tragedy in the world. No one cares about how you feel. I don't care if I've offended you. I've offended you, okay? Well then, be offended.
And you got to risk sometimes offending people to get to the truth.
Of course you do.
And get to helping them as well.
You know what I
mean? And it's coming from a positive place, but just because they're weak conditioning and triggering. They just take it a certain way. They just don't want to face reality or face what potential truth is.
Yeah.
Because it's about them, it's not about you, actually.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
They are offended, but they don't understand like that process of actually allowing themselves to feel that. They just project it onto you and they try to fight with everyone, you know. It's crazy, man.
But take it upon yourself to go, okay, that might be me. That's
It's you, it's not me.
Yeah.
You are offended.
yeah. Okay, take it upon yourself and go, okay, well, shit, that's unfortunate.
Deal with it.
Yeah. What can I do to make it better? Like, it's a funny one.
So finally, Adam, what's what's the legacy that you want to leave?
Legacy. You've got some deep questions today, mate.
You thought we were going to ask you what the next after party was.
Legacy.
That's after that.
There is no legacy. Like, you've interviewed some very high value men, which I respect. I respect all the guys around me. If anyone, I don't care what you're trying to be or what you want to be. If you're trying hard and you're putting them hours in to achieve something, then I respect it. So, for me personally, I don't want nothing grandeur. I want my son to go to a nice school. I'd like to have a family, my wife to be happy, to have a nice car to drive, a holiday twice a year. I'd be happy. My legacy is just trying to be from where I came from. I get so many messages from people where I grew up from, think that I'm they think that, like, you're someone special and you've done all this and you're like, wow, you moved to there and you've achieved this. I've not done anything that somebody else couldn't do. I've ate a lot of dicks on the way in and gone, wow, you've been dropped and you've been hurt and you've gone, all right, well, I have to get up, otherwise I can just tail between the legs and go back to where I came from and live in a town where we grew up. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with anyone that doesn't do all that stuff. But losing fights, losing parents, I lost a parent as a young man, as a child, as an infant. There's not much more you can do to somebody, really. And not everyone's had that upbringing, but that's where I am, and you don't have to have that upbringing to go. There's enough social media and influencers to go. Not the influencers, there's so many, but the ones where they explain where it's not always going to go your way. Like you said earlier, you have to lose. We don't like losing. I don't want to hear these comments of you're a bum and you got knocked down, you're stiff and all this crap, and I'm like, it takes someone to go, at least you put yourself in there and go, oh shit, okay.
One thing's being the man in the arena. And not many people want to be in the arena. And that's with, like,
it's a choice.
Everything, man. Like, and it's just from starting a business to being an athlete to doing something like this, being in the public eye. Like, because you get to sit back and be comfortable and throw shit at people.
Yes.
When people aren't willing to have that shit thrown back at them. Because most of the time, the ones that throw it, they know they haven't got the chops to be in the arena.
No.
So rather than shutting the fuck up and just letting people do it, they throw their shit, projecting their own insecurities and.
Here's a question: Have you ever had anyone doing really well put you down or like throw shit at you, like you say? Someone you've looked up to who's doing well, like you say, like a Soa or anyone. There's loads of guys out there that alpha males. There's guys I look up to. I've never heard them put people down. Never. It's kind of
real recognises real.
Yeah. You just
and real triggers the bullshit characters as well. So and it is what it is. I think that's when you get more comfortable with. You don't need a validation from people, and you just on your own path, and you got your good people around you. You couldn't really give a fuck. You're going to get positive and negative. There's no way to win everyone over once you're comfortable.
No, when you learn that, What? How do you think you counteract the
negativity,
toxic masculinity that people are saying? There's no such thing. I don't believe there's. Masculinity is a necessity in life. If without that, like I see so many like funny memes or like your house is burning down or someone's burgling your house. Who do you want come to your door? Like, you want some camp guy running up and going, oh my god, and that's obviously a joke, but like to put it into examples, there was a school shooting in America about 9 months ago where 8 police officers got called to the school shooting. A psychopath just broke into a primary school, infant kids under the age of 10. He's in the classroom. They've all broken. It's all on YouTube. You can look it up. And they're all standing outside the door. And the guy's letting off an AR-15. And they're outside the door. And as soon as he starts firing, they all run away. And all, obviously you can imagine all the military guys. I think he was broke down by Jocko Willink, and the guys are trained and paid to get in there. When them shots start firing, they get in there, and I think they lost more kids than what they should have done because the guys didn't do their job, and that's where this masculinity is such a necessity in life. People are losing because it's so easy. Life's easy.
Correct.
Where they're going, oh, we don't need this. Women can earn more than men. I don't care. You earn what you want, but don't label me as toxic or people around me as toxic.
Just try and be strong.
Yeah, just try and be a better person. We need it. My wife is so strong in her aspects of life. I need that more than anything. But when it comes to it, say for example, we had some trouble with the neighbours the other week. Security cameras kicked in. Boom! I'm outside the house quicker than she could say boo, and she's back indoors, and everyone, the neighbours are quickly apologising to what's going on and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking that could have escalated so fast. You don't know. This stuff could have happened, and not every man can do that. Obviously, bloody professional fighter for 10 years, so I'm happy to whatever do what I need to do, but. Everyone needs to know that you're protecting your friends, your family. We're all here as a role, and whether it's financial or physical or
mental supportive.
Yeah, mental. Yeah, spiritual. You need to be there for each other, and
of course. And the big thing is, I think, like, as you said, because life, particularly at the moment, particularly in Australia, where we're in, particularly in our city, where it's so fucking easy and comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
So that's why people like. So we don't need masculinity. Wait till shit goes sideways.
Yes.
And when shit goes real bad sideways, people, men and women will generally respond back to their original, their original roles. If it gets real ugly and gets real hairy, so it's one of those things that, I mean, obviously you don't want shit to get real bad, but sometimes what they say, what easy times creates, weak men create hard times create strong men.
Yeah.
We're definitely in that. Easy times create weak men.
Yeah.
So our pipeline's going to be full of a lot of fucking pain.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, and that's just the reality of where things are going to go. So we'll see. And that's why
sharpen your swords.
Sharpen your swords.
The war will begin. It's so true. The weak men create hard times, and that's where we're at right now. With whatever you want to say, transgender, the pronouns, all that bullshit. With all that, it's just causing so much divide.
Confusion.
Like back in the day, and I can't even say that. Say my parents, my grandparents, it was like black and white. Fucking you're black, you're white, you're divided. Now it's like black, white, pink, blue hair, your pronouns. I want to be the kids at school. So my wife's, I suppose mine as well, nieces and nephews, they've got a kid in their school, private school, nice school. They want the kid calls himself a Furby. Have you ever heard this pronoun?
Furby.
Furby. I don't know. This is new. But he calls himself an animal. He's an animal at school, so you have to call him as an animal. This is a private school, expensive school, and the teachers don't know how to act on it. And I'm like, fucking.
So they reinforce that they actually call him Furby.
Yeah, they have to. As it stands.
Furby before his name.
Pronoun is a Furby because but that's the way.
Does he dress up like an animal?
I don't know. My blood boils so fast when the kids said it. So fast. And Sophie's like, no, don't say it to Aldin. Don't say it to him.
That's my new pronoun.
Yeah, just because it's where do we end it? Where do we finish it? It's ridiculous. It's
So, man, thanks for being so open and for the laughs and the vulnerability, particularly in your childhood about some of the stuff and your upbringing. Because, I mean, I've been exposed to and understand that world as well, and a lot of people from here don't, and they have this certain judgment of people from that world who, especially when from a very comfortable place like most of Australia, and and it creates who we are and who you are today. So thank you for joining us and sharing your journey.
No, thank you very much for having me, and reach out to everybody. Like you say, people don't understand it. Ask questions. Just ask questions. There's no stupid questions. If you're not from there, everybody's got the same goal to try and achieve something good. So just ask if you're not sure of it. Just ask, and someone will help you out along the way. I'm sure.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.